I know we are still loading the room, so I'm gonna just soft shoe a little bit here for a moment. But first, I'm just so happy that we're back, and it feels like a con, and it feels like we are all here nerding out together. Does it feel like that to you guys? Has it been a good weekend for you? Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm happy about that. Anybody, again, I'm stalling a little bit because we got a lot of people coming in. Did you guys do all, I mean, we're not done yet. We obviously have a power hour ahead of us, but you get all the autographs and the toys and the signatures you want. Yeah? Cool. All right, I'm glad to hear that. And we already have people lining up at the microphone, which I like. And there is a microphone right there, boom. A microphone there, boom. So when we throw it to the audience, questions. Couple rules, requests even. Please keep it to one question per person. Make it an actual question. No special requests. Orlando, don't get too weird on me. And also, if you are physically able, unless you are at the microphone, I'm going to ask you to squat down. Because what that does is it allows everyone that's sitting behind you to see, right? See? My friend in the red flannel shirt, I see you now. Can you see me? There you go. So unless you're at the microphone, squat down if you are physically able, just so we can be good nerds with one another. All right? Be kind, be cool, right? And also, before I bring him out, give it up for our interpreters, Blue Sun. They're taking care of us all weekend long. It's a very important and necessary service, and I'm happy to have them here. All right, without further ado, this gentleman, I think you're familiar with his work, and he has done a lot of work from Back to the Future to a show, Wilfred, which I love actually, to Dirk Gently, which was a great show, The Happy Feet, and of course, a lot of disturbing stuff too, and of course, Lord of the Rings. Please make some noise, Orlando, for Mr. Orlando. Good. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday, huh? Are you in pajamas? That's lovely.
It's like casual day at the con. Is that sushi on your pajamas?
Hey, that's great. I love
like
sushi.
that. I like matching. I like sushi as well,
Yeah.
and I like matching pajamas.
Same. Pajamas are great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you a pajama guy?
I like pajamas, yeah.
Yeah?
I need new pajamas.
Really?
Because I've worn out the pajamas that I have. I guess I've worn them too much, and I've ripped holes in my pants, so I've had to throw a lot of pajamas away recently.
What is Elijah Wood doing at home in the evening time that you're wearing out your pajamas?
I think I overwash them. Maybe,
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's like threadbare because of being washed, not necessarily because I've worn them.
Right, okay, gotcha. So they're very nicely worn in.
Yeah.
Oh, super cozy level.
Very cozy.
Oh my, you can't get rid of those.
Well, I did, because they were giant toys.
That's sadness.
I know.
You just discard anything when it gets old. Is that the deal?
I don't normally, no, but these, there was, I'd reached a point of no return.
Yeah. Matching set?
It was a matching set, yeah.
Pattern or like
I had a plaid, a blue plaid, and then just a regular blue, and then a red and white stripe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a robe guy?
I like robes. Yeah, I have a really great cozy blue terry cloth robe that I like a lot. It's not super long, it's a little shorter, and I actually have matching terry cloth robe pants.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
got it in Japan. It was
very
awesome.
cozy.
Very cozy.
Very cozy. You know, just another thought about bedwear and whatnot. And so I think it's GoldenEye, the movie GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's more of a pool scene.
I think it's the only Pierce Brosnan movie that I really rate.
Oh wait, not Goldfinger. Sorry, Goldfinger.
Okay,
yeah.
Goldfinger.
Sorry,
Goldfinger's
different.
great.
Yeah. Goldeneye is great as
It
well,
is great.
but Goldfinger, there's the moment where Sean Connery as Bond, he's wearing this very short powder blue terry cloth
Yes.
thing by the pool.
Yes.
And I think that's the moment where he also throws shade on the Beatles. Do you remember this
What does
one?
he say?
It's like I can't quote him directly, but he just talks a little bit of crap about the Beatles. And I'm just thinking, for the supposedly coolest guy in the room,
Yeah.
this is such an uncool thing to do.
Especially at that particular
Yes.
era. Like,
Yeah.
why are we throwing shade at the Beatles at peak Beatles? It would
Right.
have been like early or mid '60s that movie was from. Right?
Yeah, it was like an old man moment, and yeah, old man Bond. I don't know.
Old man Bond.
Old man Bond. I'd watch that.
I gotta pull that up. Actually.
Yeah. Okay. Look,
Hi.
I've stalled a little bit. I know someone over there was very unhappy about the pajama questions. Let's go to an audience question. Oh, it's right there. You didn't like the pajama questions?
No, I want to talk about Radio Flyer.
Okay.
Okay, well, you got to get in line to ask a question. Meanwhile, we do have someone at the microphone. So, hey, you are up and you're recording. You're
It's
filming.
your turn.
Yes, your moment.
Hi. First off, fun fact: my first cosplay ever in my life was work from Over the Garden Wall. So thank you for that.
Oh, cool.
Secondly, my friend Albie says hi.
Hello.
And lastly, my question: do you think Word ever ended up with Sarah after the finale?
Say that again.
Say,
Do you think Word ever ended up with Sarah after the finale?
I would like to think so. Yeah. The question was, did Wirt end up with Sarah? If anyone has seen Over the Garden Wall, spoiler, a little bit. You kind of find out the history of why they're in the world that they're in by the second to last episode. You find out that Wirt had a crush on this girl Sarah, and he made a mixtape of I think it was clarinet and poetry.
Yep.
The whole thing gets bungled. But yeah, I'd like to think that he ended up with Sarah. Sarah's actually pretty cool. I think she would have appreciated the gesture.
Thank you so much. Also, the physical Force Sarah tape that you recorded, absolute masterpiece.
Isn't it rad that they actually did that? That was, I think, Mondo's idea to do that as a piece of merch because they were releasing the soundtrack. And in the show, there's this For Sarah tape, but you don't really hear it in the episode. And so the idea was like, let's just make that tape and sell that tape. So it's a mixture of Wirt playing and then really bad poetry that I got to recite. It was really fun. Really fun to make.
nice, thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
So much.
Thanks.
Hey, we have one over here. How are you?
I want to say thank you for being here with all of us on behalf of all of Orlando and all those who came here.
Yeah.
My question relates to that previous person's question. Over the Garden Wall, my daughter introduced me to that show and it was excellent.
Awesome.
It had a very profound meaning to it, given that it's represented pretty much between life and death itself. With respect to you, I understand you produced the film. How did that come about in the first place?
Wait, are you talking about Over the Garden Wall?
Yes.
So I didn't produce it, but I was involved. I guess the way I became involved was relatively traditional. They sent some examples of the artwork and the script for a short film that predates what we did in the miniseries. And I just fell in love with the art style. I found it to be so beautiful and it evoked kind of, animation that we don't often see anymore. And I loved that about it. Very kind of old-fashioned approach. And I love the script and these two characters kind of lost in this world. And did that short, and then it kind of evolved as we went along, and suddenly it turned into a mini-series of the adventures of these two brothers kind of in the unknown and getting back home again. And I just, I love animation. I'm really drawn to it. So anything that I ever get, anything that ever comes to me that's in that animated world, I take seriously just because I'm interested, and it's a lot of fun to participate in. And I just love the medium for storytelling, and that just happened to be really special and feel really different.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a weird side question here. You're very creative person and also a person that engages with a lot of theater, a lot of film, a lot of animation. Is this sort of like part of your daily routine? Are you someone that wakes up in the morning and you kind of are launching right into watching a movie or reading a book? What's kind of your process as far as engaging with entertainment and media?
Good question. Having kids puts a little bit of a it squeezes time a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not a person to wake up and watch a film, although I would love that routine. It's sort of not possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, always. I feel like every evening there's always whether it's TV or a film, it's something that my wife and I are watching. I don't know. Throughout the day, music too. It's it's like trying to ingest whenever there's sort of time, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm always just fascinated about how people watch. Like
totally. Yeah. When our time is a little bit more manageable, we have a 4-month-old right now, so it's a little hard. But when it's normal, we're watching movies all the time. That's pretty consistent in the evenings. And binge watch a lot of shows. Like we're still trying to catch up on Ozark and Severance. Yeah. So yeah, but I really wish I was more of a reader. That's something I have great regret about. Is I used to read a lot when I was younger, and even when I was working on films. On films, I would read a lot because I would just bring books. There's downtime on sets. There's plenty of time to fill that time with reading. So I would, Rings. I went through many books while we were down there. So that's something I'm keen to figure out a way to get it back
in.
And just get into the routine of reading, because I love reading.
Yeah.
And I miss it. I really miss it.
I think step one is like throw away smartphone. And
Yes.
And that pretty much ends there.
Honestly, yeah. Or replace watching TV at night with reading.
Yeah. Howdy.
Hey, Elijah. How are you? So you worked closely with Sir Ian McKellen on the Lord of the Rings films, and we all know the friendship that Frodo and Gandalf shared. Do you have a quick funny story of your time with him filming, or was there any wisdom that he imparted to you during that time?
Ian is the greatest. Yeah. Nothing comes to mind in terms of an anecdote necessarily to share. I don't know, just being around him, he was incredibly good-humored and very youthful. I think he's recently turned 80, which is shocking. And he's still so unbelievably active and vibrant and vital. But he was very youthful then too, and would spend time with us, and he was very funny, very good-humored, just a joy to be around. And for him too, and all of us, we were embarking on something that employed, specifically when Ian was working with us and some of the actors who were meant to be tall working with hobbits, was a little complicated because we don't always get to look at one another. So it was a challenge, we were all kind of experiencing this thing together, and he really sort of dove into that head first, given that, more often than not, we weren't looking each other in the eye in any of those scenes. We were looking at tennis balls.
Yeah.
This is fucking crazy. And he rolled with that so beautifully, and he's just the best. It was a joy. The gift of those films is it's really never ending. The relationships that we all forged working together as actors, the actors we got to, these legends that we got to work with, Christopher Lee too, it goes on, the extraordinary people that we got to work with, Kate Blanchett too, it's amazing. And then also our time in New Zealand, and just sort of the shared experience of making these films was just so extraordinary.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. How you doing, man? So I wanted to say thank you, not just for being here, but also the last few years, there's been a rift between my relationship with my mother, just partially due to life. We both work. I'm trying to run my own business, and in the music industry, which is similar to film, we don't really have much time for anything. Last year, I missed her birthday because I was shooting a music video. for one of my artists that I work with closely, and this year she was going to go on a trip. And through life, we both ended up getting COVID, and for the first time since probably my grandfather's funeral, we spent more than a half hour together, and it was watching the movies again. And I know they said no special requests, but I was wondering if it's okay with you, if I could get a video of you telling her that I promise I'm going to finish watching the Lord of the Rings series with her this week, because we just finished the Three Hobbits.
So, sure.
Her name is Myra, my name is Alfredo.
Myra, okay. Hello, Myra. I'm up here probably tiny on your screen. Your son Alfredo is videoing me at the moment. I just want to let you know from me to you, from your son, that he promises that he's going to finish watching The Lord of the Rings with you in person. Your son's very lovely, and I think he really wants to spend time with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna call you out though when it's like no special request. You're like, I know they said no special request, but I'm gonna have a special request.
I gotta say, one of the things that's so lovely about having been a part of these films is our stories like that, you know, moments of connection. I hear it all the time, whether it's families that watch the film every year since they were released, or you know, a couple that met each other because of their shared mutual love of the film, someone that was going through a tough time that's, you know, they sought solace in the films and it comforted them. I can't tell you how many stories, and coming to conventions like this, it's, you know, this is where I hear them predominantly, and it's lovely. It's just a lovely thing to have been a part of something that sort of ripples out from the work that we did is really a small part of it. It's all of yours, and it will continue to sort of be shared from generation to generation. You know, we're already 20 some odd years past, and people are still discovering these films, but it still resonates with people in this really profound way. And I guess I'm just saying it's a lovely thing, and it's a lovely thing for all of us, because we played our part. Our job is done, but we still get to hear your stories of how it affects you in an emotional, beautiful way, and that's awesome. It's really cool. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because you guys had this unique experience. I mean, obviously, I know there's the stories about the tattoos, and we talked a little bit about last night, and Sean's talked about this. You together really are this fellowship that went through something that not many actors can relate to.
Yeah.
Is that an awareness that settled in very quickly during the process, after the process, or did it take a while for you to realize, like, I may respect my many other fellow actors, but they don't quite have this same, they can't empathize with this experience of basically having had this multi-year journey?
Yeah, not in so much that I think about it in relation to what others haven't experienced, but certainly recognizing that what we were experiencing was very special. And I think it was evident pretty early on that we were about to embark on an adventure that was unparalleled. And I think also what makes it so unique is it's not that there aren't, you know, epic films made over long periods of time to this day. There are plenty. But we were isolated. It's a very perfect, it's kind of this perfect storm. It was 1999, 2000, it was very early days of the internet. We were isolated in New Zealand. None of us were like going home at night to our own homes. None of us were flying back to our own homes on breaks. We were in there. So we were living it in a way that doesn't often happen now. Which isn't to say that you know, plenty of people go on location and they work in their locations and they sort of are immersed in it. But that felt so immersive in a way, especially for the length of time, that's just not, you can't really compare it to anything. We were each other's life for that 16 months and the subsequent couple of years that followed, and in a way that was just very profound and unique and very much of its time, and I think it'd be difficult to replicate that.
Yeah.
You know.
Hello.
Hi, I promise we only have one question. This is just my emotional support, Sam.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we were statement photo a day earlier, and we missed
Oh, yeah.
it. But anyways, my question is actually a Dirk Gently question.
Oh, yeah.
If I know instead of getting their like equipment stolen from someone, if Mexican Funeral had made it big, what would you compare their music to? Like, what music would they have made? Like, are there any bands?
Mexican Funeral?
Yeah. Just in your head.
I mean, Max always had them as like a kind of poppy punk band, sort of. I mean, that song that you hear of them I mean, that's not really a Mexican Funeral song, but him and his sister, you know, they're jamming on a song in the first episode. Yeah, I don't know, we never really got an example of it, but I think his idea was that it was this sort of like poppy punk band. I would love for them to be more in this sort of like weird, I don't know, like Buzzcocks, like, or maybe even Wire, but that's too arty for what he would have been. Let's say if they sounded anything like the Buzzcocks, that would have been kind of cool, but we never really got to work it out. There was some plans that that it was going to get woven in. I mean, Max had the third season worked out totally and completely, and it was going to be fucking awesome. It's really a shame we didn't get to make it. And then I think he had ideas for the fourth and subsequent seasons, which that may have ultimately been explored.
Cool. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Howdy. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm awesome. So I really love Wilfred, and you're so great in that. But I was wondering, since Ryan kind of seems like a character that's different from other roles that you play, I was wondering what it was about his character that drew you to that role, or if they sought you out, they had you in mind for that.
Well, I auditioned for it. I spoke with the person who was ultimately recreating it for the American market, because it was based on it was initially a short film in Australia that Jason Gann wrote and directed, and then it was 2 seasons of the series in Australia, and then it was adapted with Jason for the American version that we did. I was drawn to the concept and ultimately fell in love with the character, but I was drawn to the concept. The idea that it would be a show about a man whose neighbor's dog he sees as a man in a dog suit that fucks with him was just so funny to me and so weird, and reminded me of a few things. It reminded me of like Calvin and Hobbes. It reminded me of a great movie, a favorite of mine called Harvey with Jimmy Stewart. His best friend is a giant 6-foot white rabbit that nobody sees. Different relationship dynamic, but I loved those. Those influences were so interesting to me and rich for exploration psychologically and emotionally. And then what the character was this sort of person that is clearly going through a depressive moment and has this break from reality potentially that causes maybe what he's experiencing. And the depths that can go in terms of where the writing went, which is sort of psychological and emotional exploration, was just really rich and fun. But what hooked me initially was just the dynamic of a pot-smoking fucking guy in a suit. Like, what the hell is that? And that we can make this on TV and get away with it, and it's so weird. It was just joyful. Like, it was just, we constantly felt like we were getting away with something. It was great. Really, really fun to do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Luis. First of all, I want to say that I'm so honored to be talking to you right now. I grew up watching The Lord of the Rings and was inspired to become an actor and to go to acting school, which is what I'm doing right now.
Dope. Nice.
And, thank you. And my question would be, what is your acting process when originating a role, and what would be good advice to someone who's starting?
I mean, my process is probably pretty boring. I mean, I just read the script. Step one, read the text. But no, it's really, for me, it's, I think before I do anything, I have to have a heart response to the material. There has to be something in it that I feel like I can do, or add to it, or that I can connect with. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like it's meant to be me. Or if something comes my way, I have to find my way into it. So that's part of it, right? Initially, just reading it and sort of imagining myself embodying the character and thinking about a way into it. And then once that sort of has transpired, it's just, it can be a number of things. At a base level, it's just trying to find out who that person is and how to bring him to life in a way that feels real and relatable. And I think that can also incorporate skills. I've worked on films where I've had to play a piano player, and I've had to take piano lessons, for instance, to be able to pull that off in a believable way. So sometimes it incorporates things that are sort of outside of physical or otherwise that one has to sort of study to do. But my process is just, it's kind of simple. It's just getting a sense of who that person is, reading the script a lot, and kind of being very prepared on the day. That's a big thing for me, is like, I work through a lot of what the next week of work is going to be, so I have a sense of what that is and I'm prepared for it. Preparation is huge because on the day it allows you to relax and just kind of be reactive. A big part of being an actor is to react to the scenario that you're in. There's only so much you can kind of prep for. There's also just the environment you're in, the other actors that you're acting opposite. So much can kind of come out of that organically to react to. And that's sort of where the really magical things kind of occur, I think. So it's sort of being prepared enough to be able to be free to let that happen, I think.
Thank you.
I hope that's been helpful.
Thank you so much.
That's like the Michael Caine approach. Like, he talks a lot about, he learns the lines, he does all the heavy lifting stuff right up front, so that way he has the freedom to create the art and not worry about the brain stuff, so
that's
much.
the key.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just curious, out of just all the things you've done, what's your favorite genre you've done?
It's kind of difficult to quantify. It's like I would classify two films I would throw into a similar genre that I love. Both have kind of comedic elements, but both have like sort of genre film elements. They get quite dark and a little twisted. There's a movie called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, and there's a movie called Come to Daddy. Both of those movies, I would say, relate in that they are kind of funny, weird. One's kind of capery. They're both genre movies. I'm drawn to that kind of storytelling, and that can be kind of broad. The thing about genre movies in general, and horror movies, I suppose you could throw in there as well, sci-fi genre, there's the possibility for anything is there from a storytelling standpoint. It's very free. You're not really constrained to, the sort of expectations of what a drama is supposed to deliver, what a comedy is supposed to deliver. They can be a little bit more weird and fun. I love those kinds of movies, and I have the most fun in them. The movies that I love to go see the most, they're the movies that I love to produce the most. From a visual standpoint, from a character standpoint, there's just no rules. Like, you can kind of do a lot of things. So I like those movies.
Thank you.
But I also I love cinema. I love all kinds of movies. I don't relegate it to one genre, but those are some of my favorite to make.
Thank you.
Great question.
Come to Daddy was really good, really interesting. It was 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I saw it right before.
Dude, we did like a little mini Alamo Drafthouse tour of the film, and that was in January, and obviously it was end of January, early February, and then it all
that may have been it.
Fucking crazy.
Maybe in Alamo in Brooklyn, actually.
Yeah, we did. We did one. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'll make this quick. During your time, I know you done with Dominic in The Lord of the Rings, and Dominic had also did Star Wars.
Yeah.
You also did Star Wars in Star Wars Resistance, and you played the character Jace.
Yeah.
And the internet's been saying that you are going to be cast into an origin story to play the Darth Sidious, the young Darth Sidious character, and I'm like, is this really happening? That can't be, you know?
I mean, I wouldn't probably be at liberty to say, but
Right.
no.
There's an
I mean, come on, Elijah. If the internet says it,
I know, right?
it must be true.
I know. And it'll be in the Snyderverse. Also, can we fucking stop with that? Oh my god. But no, there's no truth to those. But I would love to look. Getting a chance to voice a character in the Star Wars universe was super fun. Obviously, they are continuing to tell stories in that universe and will for some time. I mean, we're living in this crazy fever dream that we never imagined when we were 12 years old would ever happen. So this is pretty wild. I would love to play in that sandbox again. It'd be fun.
Oh, well, okay.
Or for real, like in live action.
To spill a little backstage tea, we were talking about the Star Wars Hotel.
Yeah.
Okay. He wants to go.
I do, yeah.
I'm really trying to get in on this trip. But if you were gonna go, or when you're gonna go, what character would you move through the Star Cruiser as? Like, what type of character would you show up as?
Oh, I mean, I think a Jedi in training would be cool.
Yeah?
That would be really cool. I mean, because what's a galactic traveler like? That I guess that's the curiosity, right? Because there's obviously all these archetypes from the movies, but who's going to stay in the galactic hotel? Like, you know, just as a tour. What's the galactic tourist look like in Star Wars? I don't know. What's that?
Right here.
You're a galactic tourist. Excellent.
You've done it?
You've done it?
Yeah.
Has anyone here done it?
Woo.
You have.
Oh my god.
And?
It's
It was epic.
epic.
Yeah, it was like Star Wars LARPing on crack.
Star
So
Wars.
rad.
Okay. All right. I think they actually quote you in the brochure.
It's like Star Wars LARPing.
On crack, yeah. This portion of the panel is brought to you by the fine folks at Walt Disney World.
That's awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited to try.
I'm stoked, yeah. I know we are running down on time. We still have time for a couple more questions. Where did I stop at? Was I over here? Yeah, how are you?
Hey!
Hey Elijah, how you doing, man? Big
Good,
fan.
man. You
Hey,
popped up like a jack-in-the-box just then. Like I couldn't see you, and all of a sudden you were like, hello. I have a question.
Not really sure what Lord of the Rings is. I've never heard of that, but I really love it in Spy Kids 3D. Like one of my favorites.
Wait, what?
Oh, we didn't hear. What do you like?
Oh, Spy Kids 3D.
Oh, dope. Awesome. Long live the guy. All like 10 seconds of his life.
I just want to keep this brief. I had one question. Do you wear wigs?
I don't wear wigs, but I have worn wigs, and I certainly will wear wigs again.
You really wear wigs?
I mean, well, I did just wear kind of a hairpiece thing in the last movie that I worked on, so just recently I wore wigs.
Very nice. Very nice. Can you explain that though? What was the deal behind that?
Oh, the story behind
that? Is that like an inside joke
Really?
or what?
No, so really simply, I was in New York while the rest of the Lord of the Rings crew were in Berlin doing the European press junket. And I had to be in New York because I was hosting Saturday Night Live that week. And thank you. And New Line kindly let me do that in New York, as long as I agreed to doing like 5 hours of interviews via satellite, which entails not seeing who you're speaking to, but hearing them through an earpiece and kind of just looking at a drawn smiley face to be the journalist in front of me. So, you know, an hour and a half into this of just a variety of different European accents, another European accent, vaguely Germanic, arrives in my ear, and oh, hello, this is Hans Jensen, and what you see in that bit ensues. So I didn't see him, I just heard him, And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's funny, but Europeans can be funny. And then it gets weirder, and I was like, something's happening. And I saw that my publicist out of the corner of my eye, like, should I cut it off? And I was like, no. This is way too good. And then it ended up being dumb, which was great. And like, it literally was such a huge relief to me and a joy, because I was stuck sitting in this chair just endlessly answering the same question over and over again for a very long time. So to have that like connection to my friends who were all in Berlin at that moment was just a joy. It was awesome.
Your laugh is priceless.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. We're kind of out of time. Let's have one more question. If you can keep it brief, please.
All right.
Okay, let me just ask the question.
Do it.
Spyro the Dragon, my favorite video game character. What inspired you to do it?
I was asked if I wanted to do it. It was an offer that came through. It looked fun. The character of this dragon seemed rad. I love video games. It was really that simple. And I was like, yeah, I'll go do that. That'd be great. I ended up doing, I think, a couple of them. Yeah.
Right on.
And I haven't ever played the game except maybe once, like way back when.
Disrespectful. Sorry.
I know. So sorry, I've sullied the Spyro name.
Orlando, this is our last hurrah for the day. You are awesome. With this guy, Mr. Elijah Roy.